Hey y'all, welcome back to Sin City Review. Today we're checking out a Browning high power. This pistol actually started off life hard chromed with a hideous gold trigger, and since it's been transformed into this. If I have a little footage, maybe I'll roll that in, let you guys check it out what it looked like before. As far as the work goes, lots of custom work, a few custom parts added to it, and we'll go through all that. Starting off, we have a Garthwaite trigger, VZ Diamondback grips in their Battleship gray color, that's factory. Heine rear sights. I have a cylinder slide sear inside, and up front the Trijicon HD night sight in yellow. And of course the Cerakote. This is a custom color I've been working on for a little bit. It's called MMG or MM Gray, and of course all the controls are graphite black. The MM Gray Cerakote is kind of a cool color. It's kind of like a sniper gray, but almost as if it was stonewashed. So more of a kind of rough texture, or appeared to be rough texture. Of course it's smooth on the gun. All in all, it turned out really awesome. Starting off with the Garthwaite trigger. Now, if you go look up Garthwaite high power on like Google Pics or something, you'll get a trigger that looks just like this. That's because I had to mimic that trigger. When you buy these from him, they're out of the box looking nothing like this. So I thought I was actually buying what I saw in the picture, but I had to rework the entire trigger to make it look the way I wanted. Basically, when you get them, they're going to be very, I guess just very geometric, very blocky. There's no curviness to them. For instance, back in the frame right here, the trigger will start at this flat and go straight back into the frame. So all that high rise and that sweeping curve, I actually had to grind into that. Also up here in the frame, the trigger usually will come straight from that first little opening, or that first part of the opening of the frame, and go straight down. So it's very blocky, very geometric. Doesn't have that nice sweep characteristic. As far as the flats go on the trigger, that top line carries all the way through the back, and so basically I had to grind it down and get, the profile I wanted, just to make it look a little more sleek and slender, like the one he shows on his site and he shows in his pictures. The VZ Diamondback grips, these things are freaking awesome. They do get dirty quick, so this is not going to be a gun that's going to stay looking like this if you give it some hard use, but it's not something I'm going to use every day. It's more of a presentation piece. The Heine rear sight, and probably one of the coolest things about the gun is the back. That hammer is a factory hammer that I basically shaved, actually made a little pocket in the rear of the sight so it'll go right in there perfectly. And the profile just looks awesome. Another thing you'll notice on high powers is the flat on the slide back here, usually they're going to round off. You'll see a high spot right about to where my thumb comes, right there, and it's where the back of the slide rounds to the other part of the slide. It's just a characteristic of high powers, and that's the way they are, but I really wanted to keep this thing completely custom as I could without changing too much of the way the gun looked, or at least your first glance at it, you wouldn't realize how much it actually changed. So I ground all that down. We also, when we fit the Heine rear sight, we moved it forward a little bit so it would compensate for when I took that hump off, and it just looks seamless. It's amazing. As it comes down, I also did a lot more grinding on the beaver tail just to make it a little more sharp in the profile, so it's just very sleek, very pronounced, and just little details like that kind of set the gun off from the rest. So if you can pull up a picture of a high power and watch it side by side with this video, you'll see what I'm talking about back here, how this is all completely changed. Pretty awesome. And that sight just fits in there perfectly. If you run off the schematics that Heine sends you when they send you the rear sight of how to cut your high power, it won't look like this. It'll be good, I mean it looks nice, but it won't look exactly like this. We got to do some customized grinding and everything to get it to fit just like that. Up front, got that Trijicon HD. Never disappoints. That's my favorite sight. I always run a different rear, but I pretty much keep that front universal on all my pistols. Crown barrel at 45 degrees as always, the SCR custom. Pretty freaking awesome. Probably the coolest thing besides all the outside custom work is actually the trigger job on this pistol. In case you're not familiar with how a Browning high power works when it comes to their triggers or their sear system, the trigger, as you pull it back, it has a little foot that sticks up, and it pushes on this toggle. So right here, that little roll pin is, the sear is like a toggle, like a teeter-totter. And so as you pull the trigger, it pushes up on this end, which pushes back on the other, and inside it activates the sear to let the hammer go. So what I did was I completely milled out and made my own toggle, I guess you call it, for the sear, or disconnector bar. It's awesome. There's actually no take-up with this trigger. If you have your own high power or know anything about them, there's a huge amount of take-up. There's not even a first stage, I mean, it's a complete single stage trigger with no first stage take up. It's pretty awesome. Other than that, that's pretty much about it. I'll show you that trigger job in a second here. Just show off the color a little bit. Really proud of this pistol. It's definitely a labor of love. I think it turned out beautiful. Just take out this magazine. The magazine is just graphite black, so super simple, but you know, goes along with the theme of all the controls. Graphite black never disappoints. Check out that hammer. The thing is just insane. So the idea with the pistol was trying to keep true to the roots of how the high power looks. I didn't want to cut a bunch of holes into it or make it, you know, like a race gun, if you will. But still, at the first glance, you know it's a high power, but it's just completely custom. And I think this thing just turned out that way. It's beautiful. Now, as far as the trigger goes, as you'll see here, there's absolutely no take up. I mean, it doesn't even move. And then it just breaks. It's lightning fast. The reset is a little bit, but nothing bad at all. So there's your pull, and here's your reset. Just a little. That's not bad at all. God, that thing is awesome. Absolutely love this pistol. It breaks right at about 3 pounds, so definitely a nice little target pistol. But really, I'm not going to shoot that this much or that much. Such a striking gun. Change the lighting source real quick. That gray almost looks like stonewash for any of you knife collectors out there. And it looks like it would be rough, but it's actually just completely smooth. Sweet. Anyways, y'all, as always, any questions, comments, concerns, leave them. And you know I'll answer accordingly. Okay, that's a beautiful pistol. And the way it reflects light, just awesome. Until next time, y'all.